Flying Tigers set to take the green in their 20-lap main event, the only event for the Tigers this evening. Taking a peek at the front row. New Yorkers comprise the front end of this field as Kevin Sorrell and Lee Morrison make up the top row. Row number 2, Dave Drake at the inside, Jim McComb in the high groove. Brad Duquette and Al Madden make up row 3. Then Bill Sawyer, Ray Claflin, Mike Richardson, and Rock and Ron Klein round out the top 10 as we get ready to go on the green flag. Sorrell and Morrison side by side, door bell and door pound. Now Sorrell gets the lead. Kevin Sorrell with about 4 car lengths, had to get to 3 of the first lap. Take a peek back here, 3 and 4 wide in some spots. As they come barely out of 4. James Foster, the number 12, the middle part of the sandwich. Meanwhile, back up front, it's heating up as Lee Morrison gets on the back end of the 49 machine. Kevin Sorrell, long-time runner here at Airborne in the many different divisions. Morrison runs second. Because Jim McComb moved up to third. You can see the distance back to the battle for fourth between Drake and Madden. And behind that, oh, fans, it is something to watch. Let's keep an eye on the action. Man of the high groove, this 77 of Eric Williams. Eric Williams with the 77 has moved into 5th, getting ready to challenge the 27 of Madden for the 4th spot. And here is the points leader. Ron Wesson has been the man to beat, but as you can see, he's got some catching up to do. And right inside the 29 of Mark Laverton, last week's feature winner. Bumper banging galore in the middle of the pack. Remember, 19 started. Only 19 Tigers start. Jim McComb running behind the 48 of Lee Morrison in the battle for second. Meanwhile, the 49 of Kevin Sorrell leads them all. Kevin Sorrell having a fantastic run. We'll center ourselves on the number 49 machine for a lap. Let's see the line he's using because it's obviously working for him. Sorrell, right down the road from the speedway, knows the track as well as anybody. Five down and 15 to go, 5 in the record books. Sorrell has led a quarter of it. Can he hang on for the rest? Behind him, you can see the action here. Eric Williams now making a move. Eric Williams on second, about to challenge Sorrell. Third is Chet DeVarney Jr. with a 14, Storian DeVarney. Last Thursday night, Bill Herring, flying Brian Williams, and that 14 car, Chet DeVarney Jr., all found illegal. Therefore, the new ruling state that this man, Chet DeVarney Jr., the Gerber baby, will miss the next 2 weeks of action at Thunder Road. The ruling is now you get caught illegal in the tech area, you sit out 2 weeks. That'll come into play as you see the late models later. As a 91 of Bill Fountain, oversized engine last week. He has been scheduled to sit out 2 weeks. Now his car is in attendance. I'll wait to see if he's indeed driving. Meanwhile, let's take a peek at the action up front again. Eric Williams won his first feature. It was at Thunder Road 2 weeks ago. Has yet to win at Airborne. It's come ever so close. The Gerber baby has won this year. He knows his way around the track. Meanwhile, here's a picture of the 66 Mike Richardson who sits third. Richardson has come up out of nowhere. The battle for fourth. Sorrell on the inside, Laverton on the outside, and Robin Wood. Of Brad Duquette about to go a lap down to race leader Eric Williams. Halfway that time by. Now DeVarney gets to the inside. Will Duquette block him? DeVarney threads the needle. Williams not going to give any way. They get into 3. DeVarney has the line and the lead. The Gerber baby's going to miss some action at Thunder Road, but he's making up for it here at Airborne. DeVarney, your new leader. Eric Williams sits second. Super move by Chet DeVarney. It would appear that he was going to get caught behind the 18 machine, but no way. Williams gave him just enough room, and he took advantage. Mike Richardson battling hard for third as Mark Laverton all over his back bumper. Last week's feature winner, Mark Lamberton. Second time he won, but the first one was taken away to the tech area. Now that 2-week suspension did not hold true because the rule was not in effect back then. It became in effect just last week. Slow automobile in the front stretch. Tough break for Jim McComb. McComb had a good start to this, but he's going to end up out early. As you can see, the left rear tire is totally flat on that machine. Getting a peek of some of the action in the middle of the pack now. A picture of the 28 of Rockin' Ron Klein. Klein not been able to move up in this event. Sits about 10th right now. You can see the distance he would have to make up. Here are the leaders. The 14 of DeVarney, the 77 of Eric Williams. Putting Dave Craig a lap down. Could the Gerber baby win another one? It would appear that he's in line to do so. Eric Williams is losing some track, but hey, take a peek here in third. If there's anybody who can catch these guys, it is that man in the 29. Mark Lamberton has been moving up, but is he running out of laps? That is the question. Meanwhile, there is Ron Weston, your points leader. Weston started quite a ways back. I showed you a picture earlier where he was battling three wide deep in traffic. It's worked his way up, but boy, laps also running down for the 35 machine. It is DeVarney, followed by Williams, followed by Lamberton. The lap car scratch at Mike Richardson running fourth, and fifth is the 35 car, that being the Ron Weston automobile. Back up front, this time by fence posts are up. 2 laps to go, and Chet DeVarney Jr. desperately trying to hang on as Eric Williams looking for his first feature win here at Airborne. Williams has come oh so close on about 3 or 4 occasions. Never carried the checkered flag on the parade lap. Last lap, let's take a peek at Mark Lamberton because he is closing the battle for second. Lamberton may not be able to get the top spot, but he might be able to get Williams. One more set of turns to negotiate. There are the 3 leaders, clearly in front of Richardson and Weston. And as they come out of 4, Chet DeVarney Jr. will win it close at the line. We will give it to Williams for second, Lamberton third, Richardson fourth, and points leader Ron Weston having to settle for fifth on this night. The rest of the field's cross. Take a peek at where your favorite finished. Well, fans, that was a quick 20 laps because caution flag was not unfurled. Excellent green to checkered run. And we will take a peek at the top 5. Chet DeVarney Jr. wins it. Eric Williams again settling for second. Last week's feature winner Mark Lamberton will be third. Mike Richardson fourth. And points leader Ron Weston, well, he'll have to settle for fifth best tonight. Set to go with the part-time late model sportsman. 25 laps on tap, 29 start. And remember, next week, July 11th, the makeup 100 lapper for these guys. Double points as it will serve as their midseason championship. Double points next week, 100 laps for the late models. Again, set to go 25. Fred Lagoy and Lonnie Lackley in the top row. Take a look inside row 2, the 91 car. I told you in the Fly Tiger feature that Bill Connor had been suspended. That was what I understood to be the case. However, I have just been told that Bill is indeed driving that very car, battling for the lead. Fountain, like he did last week, gets the lead early. Last week, the only car to beat him across the stripe was Miller. That was Miller's Triple Crown, so let's see what happens. Take a look at the rest of the vehicles, all kinds of action. A couple of New York guys that could win at any given time, the 66 of Thomas and the 19 of David Gay. Meanwhile, trouble as the 64 car, Robin Branham, slowing down drastically. And there is the man who has pulled us some good racing out of us at the last couple of race shows. As you heard last week, the late models packed up and went to St. Croix. That race, a twin 25-lap Mazda-style International Series event, was won overall by Brian Hoare, who did just like he did here at Airborne. Won the first half of the game with the back and win the second half. The man who started off pole and won that second 25-lap segment and man, the number 9 of Dan Bridges. And to back it up, he's probably the only regular New Yorker to go to Thunder Road for their shows. This past Thursday, Dan walked away with the feature win at T-Road, so looking to make it 3 in a row and moving up as he battles the 83 Tipatinka for the number 3 spot. There's a distance between those two and the 17 of Lacklade, and between Lacklade and the race leader, Bill Fountain. Fountain, a big lead, and quite a bit of distance before he fights 8-lap traffic. Cars come out of 4 main, double file. Car to keep your eye on is centered right there. The 45 car points leader, Brian Hoare. He leads the International Series points as well as Airborne points. But as I just showed you, he has an awful lot of rounds to make up. And unfortunately, Brian Hoare just given the black flag. Problems on the 45 machine. He'll have to head to the pits as you look and scan up through the pack a bit. Action now coming out of 4, Doug Hoare. Battling the 13 of Richard Bootsy. That battle for 6th spot. Also involved in 92, Chris Durkee. Durkee has been in a slump recently, so he could definitely use a good finish. 33 car Matt Sear. Matt probably parked it in the straight last week. Got that car fixed and back in action here this Saturday night racing. Back up to the top spots. Patinka Lackley bound for 3rd and 4th. But take a peek at Dan Bridges. I said he must 3 straight. I'm not kidding, fans. The only car to beat is Bill Fountain. Fountain, 6 car lengths over the 9 of Danny Bridges. Bridges has really got the setup right in that car over the last few days. Running 3rd, Patinka, New Yorker from 1, 2, and 3. Tim Patinka has been an unfortunate victim of the past few weeks, always running up the front, but always seems to have an incident to take him out in the late stage of the races. So keep it out of that 83 machine. And Tim Patinka has had the ability to win, just hasn't gotten the brakes. Battle for the lead now. Dan Bridges looks inside of Fountain. Bridges with the line, Fountain with the engine. Fountain both ways, Bridges still has the third line of Fountain shots it over. Dan Bridges looks high, Fountain ducks low, sends up some dust. Meanwhile, Patinka's closed the gap. Patinka waiting for the other 2 fellow Empire Staters to make a mistake. Not likely when you're talking about Fountain Bridges. They can run some pretty good lines out there. Well, I told you the Fly Tiger feature went without a hitch. Green to checkered. Halfway this time by, and still no yellows. Let's find your favorite driver as they come out of 4. Several drivers who normally do well, not moving up at all. Leaders coming up on lap traffic, as you can see. And as I say, Bridges gets to the inside of Fountain. Bridges clearly in front of the stripe by about a bumper. Will lap traffic come into play? Won't make a difference. Bridges disposes of the 91 and gets the lead. 100 laps for these guys next week. Their mid-season championship, right now from a couple of weeks ago, will be held next week, 100 laps on tap. Now Fountain trying to hold up Patinka, the battle for 2nd. A couple of things to stay tuned later on in this program. John Curley, president of the American Canadian Tour, in attendance with the ACT running tonight. He liked the Fly Tiger feature so much that as the best race he's seen in 5 years, they will be back for a 2nd feature tonight. Trouble up here as you can see a couple of cars get turned around. 68 Jim Silly involved, as well as looks like the 2 of Storm and Norman Andrews. That's going to bring out the first caution. We'll go back to last lap completed as they line up now. Bridges, Fountain, Patinka, Lacklade, and oh yes fans, the 00 Steve Miller. Getting set to go back to late model sportsman action. 15 down, 10 to go. Danny Bridges, Bill Fountain, Tim Patinka, Lonnie Lacklade, and Steve Miller, your top 5. However, if you take a peek at those guys, outside row 1 is the 08 of Steve Miski Min, the lapped automobile. Getting back to what I was saying about the Tigers. Tom Curley in attendance. Liked them so much, that's the best race seen in 5 years. They will be back later tonight for a 2nd feature. Double purse will be on the line in that Fly Tiger feature, so Should be something to see. Meanwhile, something to see here, 3-4 wide in some spots as the cars battle it out. Up front, Danny Bridges still leading Bill Fountain. Tim Patinka ducks in third. Last distinction, Triple Crown winner Steve Miller on the high group, battling the 83 for the third spot. There's your top four. 8 or 9 laps to go, so any of these guys could easily win it. Remember, Bridges coming off 2 straight victories. Meanwhile, look at a little farther back. There's Joe Thomas. Thomas and I had the best here. Desperately trying to turn things around here tonight. Back up front, Miller's disposed of Patinka, working the outside groove of the 91 at Fountain. Steve Miller is making it work as he has third, looking to take second in the top spot. In addition to the second Fly Tiger feature, stay tuned because later on in this very Motorsports Magazine presentation, my colleague Rick Knowles ventured up to the dirt speedway called Blacktown International. And you guessed it, man, dirt action for Blacktown on tonight's program. So you will not want to miss that as we'll show you the cars and stars of Blacktown. Won't give away the winner, but I'll tell you, you won't want to miss it. It's a whale of a race. 8 or 9 car links, the lead for Bridges, and Miller gets to the inside of 91. Miller disposes of Fountain. Last week they finished 1-2. They're in those positions. Well, except of course with this man. Danny Bridges leading Miller. This could be the battle of the night. Bridges has been strong. This double zero car is reeling him in. Fountain runs third. Patinka fourth. Lonnie Lackley running very strong in the fifth spot. We're not going to take our action off of the top spot right now. It is a Bridges-Miller battle. Simply the best 2 cars of the speedway right now. They have moved away by about 15 car lengths from this battle for third between Fountain and Patinka. This time by be 2 to go. Miller has the inside line. Steve Miller has got the inside line. A half a car length separates him with 2 to go. And Miller, driver back-to-back victory, takes the lead from Bridges. 100 laps for these guys this upcoming Saturday. You won't want to miss that action. There's the battle for the top spot. The battle for third, Patinka on the outside of Fountain. The battle for fifth. Doug Moore on the inside. Brian, or scratch that, Fred Dragon on the outside and Jean-Paul Cyr. But as they come out of Ford fans, let's give it to Miller, followed by the 9 of Dan Bridges, Fountain third, followed by 83 Patinka, the 46 of Doug Moore. Once again, all 25 in the books tonight. No rough riding called. Miller wins it again. Bridges second. Fountain third. Patinka fourth. Doug Hoare ends up fifth. That'll wrap it up for the Flying Tigers. A super race in their own right. 1 or 2 cautions coming out to slow it down, but certainly nothing like we've seen the last few weeks. And something we did see last week. This man carrying the checkered on the parade lap. Miller, your winner. That's going to help close the points gap between himself and young Brian Hoare. 3 laps to go in the ACT main event, the Holiday 100. Take a peek at the leaderboard with 3 to go. The 72 Junior Hanley leads away. Man to feel sorry for is a 10 of Ralph Mason. He led the first 84 laps. Finally, Hanley managed to get by. Looked like tires became a problem with the 10 car. The 1X of Brad Layton with a strong run is running third. The 48 of Robbie Crouch holds down the 4th spot. And Dan Beatty, having his best run here at Airborne, runs 5th. We went most of the race, as a matter of fact, without a caution. The reason for this caution, well, the 07 of Buzzy Bazanza took a pretty wild ride near the Bill McBride side. And unfortunately, Bazanza being attended to right now. Hopefully the best for that Plastow, New Hampshire driver. Bazanza, a terrific guy to talk to in the pits and in general. Attendants taking care of not only the car but the driver. Hopefully nothing serious with the 07. We'll be back with complete coverage of the final 3, the Dash for Cash 3-lap shootout. Once again, Hanley will be leading Nason, Layton, Crouch, and Beatty. Still under caution, waiting for the final 3 laps to be run. Take a peek at the sign on the backstretch. That is what Buzzy Bezanson hit. Bezanson flying off the track, hitting the steel girders. Now, update on the car, well, not in good shape. You don't believe me? Take a peek. Nothing left of the 07 machine. It has some severe damage. Buzzy himself being taken to the medical center. Nothing hopefully too serious. Was shaken up a bit, complaining of some rib pain, so they're going to take him as a precautionary measure, get some x-rays. Field crossing off, taking a peek at how they'll be. Race leader Junior Hanley will be on the inside. The man on the outside needed a caution. That is the 12 of Larry Caron. During all the green flag laps, his left rear rotor was catching a fire. And that could have been pretty disastrous. Hanley, look at that jump. Hanley with a big jump. Action for positions number 2, 3, and 4. Nason, Layton, and Lynch. And oh my, Ralph Nason, who ran so good. Actually, this is still caution. Caution came out after the green. That's why Nason was backing off, fans. We'd have to line him up one more time. Taking a look at some of the cars and stars of the American Canadian Tour. Spot your favorite, as you can see, like Roger LaPearl. Some severe damage in combat tonight. Our first caution came out when outside pole sitter Randy McDonald tangled with Junior Hanley while battling for the lead that Nason had. Besides McDowell, Derek Lynch involved. Both spent several laps in the pits. McDowell much longer than Lynch, but took both competitors out of a chance of winning. We're going to try this again. Hanley had a bit too big of a jump, but he does again now. This is a little bit ridiculous. Hanley getting a big jump. So we're going to line them up again, and we'll try to get these last 3 laps in. We are still having some trouble lining up the field, so it's a good time to tell you that. We are about ready to join our final 3 laps of the Holiday 100 here, but all the cars and stars of the American Canadian Tour will be back in action for the finale of their season for 1992, the Fall Foliage 300 like last year. If you weren't here, well, you missed a great race. Don't miss it this year. Now, if you have one of the early schedules that was put out before the season started, and you're going by that, well, you're going to be here when there's no racing. Fall Foliage 300 originally scheduled for the final weekend in September. It has been pushed back to the first weekend in October. The reason? Well, the schedule is so packed that had there be a rain out, there'd be no place to put it. So they're going to make the extra week in case of some rainouts the second half of the season. Therefore, the Fall Foliage 300 will not be held the final week in September, but the first weekend in October. I'd make plans now to be here. 300 laps in the 1992 season. And it will be something spectacular, I assure you. Nothing to lose at that point, all season to fix them. These guys like to have it all hang out when that happens. Some of the cars in attendance, there's the 80 of Donatille, the Auto 411 of Claude Leclerc. He had a good start to the night, but started to fall back. Leading rookie, the 27 of Kim Wallace. Kip Stockwell with the number 16. Stockwell moving into ACT this year. Last year, he was a Flying Tiger competitor. Local pride goes in the hands of the number 35 of Mike Perotti. Perotti, longtime competitor here, trying his hand at the American Canadian Tour. Now, the other local driver that was here opening day, that was the 26 of Ron Patrick. Unfortunately, Ron has been forced to suspend his ACT racing. It just didn't work out for Ron Patrick organization. Tough break. Was hoping to see him here this week, but here is our starter telling the field, let's go next time, and there are a lot of fans that agree. Once again, up front, it will be Junior Hanley on the inside, your leader. The 12 of Larry Caron, a lapped automobile. Second row, Derek Lynch, several laps down. On the outside, the 10 of Ralph Nason, your second place automobile. Again, Nason led the majority of this race, only to get past in the late stages by the 72 points leader, Junior Hanley. 3 to go in the Holiday 100, and Junior Hanley with a big lead again out of the turn. Ralph Nason disposes of the 12 automobile. Nason does not have much time to try to catch Henley. Layton runs third. Crouch runs fourth. Again, Derek Lynch is a lapped automobile. White flag this time out. Half a mile to go for another victory for the 72 machine. We'll follow him around the speedway as he wagers this month for number 72, Capital Ontario, Junior Henley, the dominator of the season. Junior Henley picks up the checkered, taking a peek at the final five. Henley, your winner. Nason second. Layton third. Crouch fourth. And excellent run for Bury, Vermont's Dan Beatty, who finishes fifth. Beatty's been having some trouble the last few races. He never runs super here, but he does super tonight. And of course, nobody could beat the 72 machine. And Junior Henley, a familiar sight, carrying the checkered on the parade lap. Remember, first week in October, Fall Foley's 300. These guys will be back in town. Still to come on this edition of Motorsports Magazine, a second Flying Tiger feature that was installed after the first one ran so well. The street stock main event. And, oh yes, need I forget, dirt action from Frogtown, still to come. If you're watching, you say you think it's deja vu. You've seen these guys already. Well, you're right, you have. They're running their second 20-lap main event in the evening. It was not on the schedule originally, but after promoter Tom Curley saw the way they ran the first one, he said, hey, that's the best race I've seen in a long time. Let's give them another 20 laps tonight. So they inverted the finishing order from the first one, and we've got them lined up for feature number 2 for the Flying Tigers. Jim McComb, Brad Duquette will lead them on their way. Dave Drake and Bill Sawyer in row 2. Row 3, Ray Claflin and Lee Morrison. Pace car has retired to the pits. That can only mean one thing. Keep your eye out of turn 4 and look for the power plants to get in action. McComb, a slight jump at the line, and you're gonna let him go. Duquette trying to get to the inside of McComb. We got some flying off the 3 of George White. I have no idea what it is, but he's dragging it. As George White battles for position number 5, you can clearly see something flying off the back end. Obviously a piece of the automobile or a banner that he came in contact with. Doesn't hurt the performance. Meanwhile, up front, McComb brought 4 car lengths on the 18 of Duquette. Followed by Bill Sawyer, George White, and Lee Morrison, your top 5. They went green and checker the first time. Let's see if they can duplicate that feat. Rocket Rock Klein. Klein not having a super fantastic season. He's got into some problems, not of his own fault. Currently running in the outside groove of the 27 of Al Matthew. Meanwhile, right behind those two, the 35 of 35 of Ron Wesley, your points leader on the outside, and the 29 of Mark Lavender on the inside. These are 2 guys you always keep your eye on. Meanwhile, Jim McComb is still your race leader as he comes out of 4. Running second, the 39 of Bill Sawyer. George White is up to 3rd. Brad Duke at 4th. There's a battle for 5th. Klein getting past Morrison. And 3 deep with Mark Laverton splitting the seam. 4 deep into 3. Hang on, fans. This could get tight. It does. Weston loops it. Action all over the place. Everyone trying to avoid him. Laverton collects the wall. Several cars involved. 3 in the wall. Weston is fired. There's the Ron Weston automobile. Laverton is going. Foster's going, as is the 37 of Eldred Hutchins. Yellow on the speedway, so we're going to restack him and let him go again. 5 down, 15 to go. McComb, Sawyer, White, Duquette, and Klein. Everything all sorted out, ready to go back to action. Jim McComb and Bill Sawyer in the top row. George White and Brad Duquette make up row 2. Slight changes. Lee Morrison takes 5th from Ron Klein as we go back to the last lap completed. Look for him to get under green flag conditions. This time out of 4, as you can see, the pace car is already in the pits. Bill Sawyer way out of shape, going to lose some positions. McComb takes the easy lead. George White into second, and I'm not sure what happened to the 39 machine as he just blew that start. White is taking second, Sawyer back to third. Rockin' Ron up to fourth, Duquette battles fifth. Eldred Hutchins sits sixth. This is the Eric Williams car. Eric Williams, the guy who usually, along with Weston and Lamberton, come from way back. Speaking of Weston and Lamberton, yeah, they're way back there already. George White gets the inside of McComb. George White, all kinds of track position this time. McComb tucks under, tries to get back under. Nothing doing. Keep your eye on the 28 machine. Rockin' Ron is letting it fly. Klein with the line moves into second. Ron Klein has one car to beat. Fellow New Yorker George White. Meanwhile, McComb runs third. Hutchins, Sawyer battle for fifth. Fourth and fifth. Along with Foster and Richardson. There's the 5 cars involved in the battle for third. These are the 2 cars they're trying to beat. George White leading the way. Ron Klein a car or 2 behind. About 8 car lengths back to that battle for third. Ron Klein, he wants to go low, but George White will have nothing to do with it that time. Again, 3 wide out 4. Remarkable. These guys making 3 wide work. They did it all during that first feature and made it work. That's why they're running again. Battle for third heating up. It's David Foster getting position at Eldred Hutchins. Foster again to the inside of the Hutchins car. But Hutchins holds him off. Meanwhile, Klein looking to get inside George White. 10 down, 10 to go, halfway. Here comes Mike Richardson in the battle as he sits fifth. There's a battle for sixth. Robin Wood to the inside. And the winner of the first race, Chet DeVarney Jr. on the outside. Nose to tail your first 6. Eldred Hutchins moving outside Ron Klein, the battle for third, or second. But Dave Foster with the 12 making some position. Keep our eyes on these 4 cars. Positions after now your top 6. Throw a blanket over them. They are that close together. Foster goes 3 wide on the inside. They touch, but they all back off. Dave Foster trying to make a spectacular move. Lost some ground because of it. Chet DeVarney cannot make up ground now as he has caught the leaders but can't find the line to get through. Again, Hutchins trying to catch up to the Ron Klein automobile. Race leader George White, all he has to do is keep everyone behind him. Of course, that goes without saying, doesn't it? Bit of bumping with Robin Wood and Dave Foster, no damage done. That's strictly a banner of some sort behind the 3 car, by the way. It's nothing too serious. Whoa, George White gets loose. Ron Klein trying to take advantage. 5 to go. 5 laps to go. By the way, Buzzy Vazanson is feeling much better. Vazanson took a bad ride right there at the sign in the ACT race. Next week, July 11th. Regular show for the Tigers, regular show for the Stocks, but 100 laps for the late model sportsman. That is the makeup date from a couple weeks ago. They got rained out. It will be their mid-season championship race, so double points on the line. Why am I telling you about that? Take a look at the action for the lead. Clyde to the inside of George White. George White is in no man's land because on the outside it's DeVarney. Klein has the lead, but DeVarney, unbelievable on the outside, trying to win both features tonight. It is Ron Klein and Chet DeVarney, 1 and 2, side by side, door panel to door panel. Fence posts are up, 2 laps to go, and DeVarney gets the lead. Oh, Ron Klein had the lead. Oh, he looks over his right shoulder, and there's that Gerber baby in the 14. We got to stop calling him a Gerber baby because he is something. He has been driving super spectacular. White flag this time out. DeVarney, Klein, Hutchins, Foster, and Eric Williams. I tell you, Eric Williams keeps moving up, fans. Your top 5. Klein to the inside. And Chet DeVarney Jr. gets caught asleep, or is there a problem? DeVarney, oh, he's out of it. DeVarney, all kind of trouble, and fans, congratulations to Rockin' Ron Klein. Doesn't get tangled up, and he picks up his first feature win of the year. Rockin' Ron Klein very happy about how well they ran the first race because that allowed him to win a makeup feature, one that was not originally scheduled. Well, it is Ron Klein, your winner in the second Flying Tiger feature. Eldred Hutchins second. David Foster third. And this is probably, no doubt, the happiest man in the Speedway. Family and friends all over in front to greet him as Ron Klein carrying the checkered flag for feature number 2 tonight. DeVarney won the first, was in line to win the second, but apparently a flat tire cost him any chance of getting the double. Rockin' Ron Klein, your winner. He had been steadily falling back in points because of being involved in incidents that really were not his own fault. A couple of weeks ago, he got tangled up, got parked near the Bill McBride side of the Bazanson hit. Last week, takes Eric Williams with him, about the same spot, but nothing doing tonight. He figured Bazanson had that spot. And Rockin' Ron Klein picks up feature win number 1 on the year. Napa Legends Street Stock action on the Speedway. On the pole, the 55 of Bob Bailey, drawing alongside to his right, the 69 of Ed Drake. Mike Boucher and Mark Brusso make up row 2. Don Moraine, Chris Ida in row 3. Pace car is retired to the infield, looking for Bob Bailey and Ed Drake to set them on their way. And they're off, and apparently Toby Ebersol, terrific jump as he gets to the inside of the 63 of John Moran. Trouble! Big time. Outside pole sitter Ed Drake has gotten tagged by a couple of cars, including the Banana Barge. Points leader Greg Paye also involved. Toby Ebersol, the 79 of Jeff Vernia, Chris Ida, Paul Schnabel, the 63 of Don Moran. Yellow on the speedway is there are far too many cars all mixed up. Didn't quite make it work that time. Cars all over. The 88 of Charles McNulty, a new automobile to the Speedway. So we're going to have to try this one once again, fans. No laps of the record book, all 15 to go. Robert Bailey on the pole, outside. Now the 49 of Mike Boucher, Mark Brusso, and Chris Ida in row 2. Jeff Vernia, Rob Clark Jr. in row 3. Row 4 comprised of Dave Rotella and the 91 of Greg Paye. Tyson Drout to the inside of row 5, on the outside, the 74 of last week's feature winner, Dan Benoit. Robert Haynes, Paul Schnabel, Charles McNulty, and Toby Ebersol round out the field. Green flag out, and it's going to be the 49 of Mike Bouchard getting the lead. Mike Bouchard gets the early lead now. Bob Bailey spinning it, gets it back, as is Mark Brusso. The outside groove, the place to be, is 2 of the cars in the inside groove losing traction. I say it's a place to be, guys. I didn't say 3 wide, but they make it work. 79 at Jeff Vernia runs 3rd, and that could be a guy to beat. Every weekend, his car, if it's hooked up, he's as tough as anyone out there. Just unfortunate, he's not always hooked up as well as he'd like to be, but he won the first street stock feature here this year at Airborne. The battle for second now shaping up. Chris Ida with a 23, Jeff Fernier with a 79, and Dave Littell with a 53. Trouble out, Fernie and Ida get together. They straight up, and there's a 91 on the outside. Points leader Greg Pay desperately looking to fight his way back to the winner's circle. Picking him up and laying him down like he shot out of a cannon. Another guy's been doing well with 6 of Tyson Drown. Cars scattering all over the speedway. Meanwhile, there is your leader, Mike Bouchard in the 49. Second place, Chris Ida, and some distance back to third, the 79 of Jeff Vernia. Great battle for positions 4 back, as you can see. Tough break for Joe Rotella in the 17. Capable of winning it almost any week, but already being lapped, his car not up to par. Taking a peek at your race leader, and you can see he's got a considerable lead over the rest of the field. Bouchard out of 4, the lap car of Don Moran. Chris Ida running second there. There's a guy to keep your eye on, the 01 out of Keithville, Rob Clark Jr. Right in front of him, last week's feature winner Dan Benoit. They could be the fastest cars on the track if they can get free of some traffic. Finally getting a little breather room now as they chase Fernie. They have some lap traffic to contend with the last couple of laps. Last week's feature winner Dan Benoit looks under Fernie and nothing doing in that battle. Halfway this time by. Halfway this time by. Mike Bouchard still leading the way over Chris Ida, Jeff Vernia, Dan Benoit, and Rob Clark Jr. Charles McNulty, that new car, being put a lap down by the race leader. Next on the race leader's hit list to lap is pole sitter Mark Brousseau. Don Moran, the only driver weekly to haul in from Quebec. He's been doing well this year, but he's already been put at least 1 lap down. That's a tough break. Looking at some of the other cars as they go along the backstretch. The black flag has been displayed the last few laps. I'm assuming that is for Mark Brousseau. I do not know, but it has been waved quite furiously by the flagman. There's the lead for Mark Bouchard. Let's be honest, fans, this is an eternity for the street stock division. Second place, Chris Ida. He can't worry about the lead as he gets challenged by Dan Benoit in that battle for second. Jeff Vernia getting into it now. Dan Benoit trying to work on the 23 of Chris Ida. Benoit gets to the outside, but Chris Ida has a preferred line. Benoit better watch it as Jeff Vernia wants to slip in. Excellent 3-car battle for the second position. Is it going to work, fans? Let's take a close look. Some bumper tag. Benoit going way high, losing both positions. Benoit tags the wall. Brings it down. You can see the damage on the right rear quarter panel. Vernia did take position away from Ida, but nobody's catching this man, Mark Bouchard. We are on the final lap. White flag has been displayed. Mike Bouchard could probably break down and push his car home at this point. Very impressive run for the 49 machine. There's your winner, Mark Bouchard, the 49. Jeff Vernia will be second as he crosses the stripe. Chris Ida third. Dave Rotella may have been fourth. He was. And boy, I think the banana bars of Greg Paye nipped out Rob Clark Jr. for 5th. Best way to find out? Take a look at the scoreboard. It was indeed Mike Boucher, your winner. Jeff Birdie a second, Chris Hyde a third, Jay Bertell a fourth, and points leader, Greg Paye 5th. That's going to wrap it up from the Airborne International Raceway. Remember, next week, a regular show for the Stock of the Tigers, 100 laps for the late model sportsman. Recapping real quick what we saw, Mike Bouchard picking up the Napa Legend Street Stock win. Chet DeVarney Jr. and Rockin' Ron Klein winning the 2 Flying Tiger features this evening. And Steve Miller picked up his 2nd feature win in as many weeks. Now, before I leave, remember, we get more action, so don't turn off the set yet. Without any further ado, I'll toss it to my colleague Rick Knowles with dirt action from Frogtown International Speedway.